Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all to my YouTube channel M Ahmad Study Circle. In today's video, we are going to do the question answer of the chapter Kathmandu by Vikram Seth from your Beehive English book for the students of class 9th CBSE. In this video, we are going to deal all the questions given in your NCERT textbook. And first of all, we are going to do the questions from thinking about the text. And we have to answer these questions in one or two words or in short phrases. So let's see our first question. Name the two temples the author has visited in Kathmandu. The two temples the author visited in Kathmandu are the Pasupatinath temple and the Buddhanath stupa. Question number 2. The writer says, all this I washed down with Coca-Cola. What does all this refer to? While drinking Coca-Cola, the author consumes a bar of marzipan, a roasted corn on cob, which means rubbed with salt, chili powder and lime, and also reads two love story comics and a Reader's Digest. Let's see question number 3. What does Vikram Seth compare to the quills of a porcupine? The author is comparing the pole made of bamboo with an attachment on the top from which 50 to 60 basuris protrude in all directions to the quills of the porcupine. Let's see question number 4. Name 5 kinds of flutes. The 5 kinds of flutes are the reed-ney, the recorder, the Japanese shakuhachi, the deep basuri of Hindustani classical music, the clear, breathy flutes of South America, and the high-pitched Chinese flutes. So these were the questions from thinking about the text. Now we have section 2 and we have to answer each question in a short paragraph. Let's see question number 1. What difference does the author note between the flute seller and the other hawkers? The flute seller selects a flute from his collection and plays it for a few minutes. The sound rises clearly above the noise of the traffic and the hawker's cries. He plays slowly, meditatively, without too much of aggressive display. He does not shout his wares as the other hawkers do. His music attracts his customers and he sells his wares in a very casual manner. Let's see question number 2. What is the belief at Pasupatinath about the end of Kali? At Pasupatinath, a small shrine half protrudes from the stone platform on the river bank. It is believed that when the shrine emerges fully, the goddess inside will escape and the evil period of the Kali Yuga will end on earth. Question number 3. The author has drawn powerful images and pictures. Pick out 3 examples each of. We'll see the first example of the point number 1. The atmosphere of febrile confusion outside the temple of Pasupatinath. Let's see the answer. Outside the Pasupatinath temple hangs a sign that says entrance for Hindus only, and there is an atmosphere of febrile confusion. The priests, hawkers, devotees, tourists, cows, monkeys, pigeons and dogs roam around the temple grounds. Worshippers elbow each other trying to get the priest's attention. Suddenly, if the princess of the royal family arrives, everybody bows down and makes way for her. There is a struggle at the main gate between the police and some saffron-clad westerners. In between all this, 2 monkeys begin a wild chase and run down to the holy Bagmati river, screaming all the way. Question number 2. The things he sees. So let's see what the author sees there. On the banks of Bagmati, he sees a body being cremated. Someone was throwing a basket of wilted flowers into the river. Washerwomen were at work while the children were bathing. He also sees the submerged shrine. He sees the Pasupatinath temple and the Buddhanath stupa. The stupa and its ambience is in stark contrast to the temple. At Kathmandu, he sees several flower bedecked shrines, narrow, busy streets with fruit sellers, flute sellers, hawkers of various products, and the stray cows who low questioningly at the two wheelers. Now let's see our question number 3. The sound he hears. What kind of a sound the author Vikram Seth hears? The sound he hears are that of the loud music on the streets that blare out from radios, the sounds of car and bike horns, the bicycle bells, and the loud sound of the hawkers selling their wares. The only sound that appealed to the author was that of the flute player who produced wonderful music. The melody of the music made it difficult for the author to leave the square. Now we have come up here in section 3 where we have to answer the following questions in not more than 100 to 150 words. Let's see question number 1. Compare and contrast the atmosphere in and around the Buddhanath shrine with the Pasupatinath temple. Let's see the answer. The author has made a very distinct comparison of the ambience in both the holy places. At Pasupatinath temple, the atmosphere is fairly chaotic and loud. Everybody is in a wild hurry to establish contact with the priest. The entire premises is packed with men and animals who weed to compete, like weed means to compete with each other to test who could be louder. Visiting rites to the temple is restricted to Hindus only. The river beside the temple was also brimming with activity. In contrast to this, the Buddhanath shrine presented a strange stillness and calm. Its immense white dome is ringed by a road. Small shops owned by Tibetan immigrants are found at the outer edge. The place is devoid, lacks of huge crowds. The author says that it is a heaven of quietness despite the streets around being busy. Let's see question number 2. How does the author describe Kathmandu's busiest streets? Kathmandu is a vivid, mercenary yet religious place that has a number of small shrines along the narrow roads. The busiest street is full of flute sellers, hawkers of postcards, shops selling Western cosmetics, film rolls and chocolates, or copper utensils and Nepalese antiques. He is introduced to the blaring of film songs that are emerging from the radios. Besides, there is the traffic that contributes in adding to the confusion on the streets. Finally, the vendors who shout out their wares. In contrast to all this chaos is the flute seller whose soulful music spreads through the air above all the other sounds as he plays on it in between selling them and talking to the other vendors. Question number 3. To hear any flute is to be drawn into the commonality of all mankind. Why does the author say this? Vikram Seth considers the music that flows out of the flute to be most universal and most particular of sounds. He says that each flute has a different style of placing the fingers to produce different notes and their own range and scale, and each one weaves together their own associations or combinations. To hear the flute is to be drawn into the commonality of all mankind, as its tune is the closest to the human voice. The force that keeps both the flute and man alive is the need to breathe and pause in between every breath. He was surprised that the flute was able to affect him so significantly. So this is how we have done all the questions from your NCERT textbook.